Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn about IELTS Writing Task 2. In this lesson, we are going to concentrate on how to write a course solution essay. A course solution essay. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to write the main body and conclusion. In the previous lesson, I taught you how to write the introduction of this particular question. So in this lesson, we are going to learn how to write the main body and the conclusion. If you want to have a complete essay, then I recommend that you watch the video on how to write the introduction. The answer that I'm going to give you in this lesson is a band 9. At the end of this lesson, I will explain to you why it is a band 9 answer. Now, before we begin the lesson, I would like to point out a few things about writing task 2. The first thing is that writing task 2 for the general training students and the academic IELTS students is exactly the same. It's written in the same way and it is marked in the same way. The only difference between the IELTS Writing Task 2 for the general training students and the academic students, the only difference is that more often than not, the general training students get questions that have simpler topics and simpler questions. This particular question that we are going to look at in this lesson is for both academic and general training student. Now, before we get into the question, have you subscribed to the channel? If you haven't subscribed to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel. I promise you will not regret it. This is because I upload very helpful videos on IELTS writing and speaking, but that's not all. In my channel, I have a lot of really helpful videos on grammar, all the tenses in English. I also have videos on vocabulary. For example, if you want to know how to describe people, children, teachers, your boss, I have plenty of videos on vocabulary, but I also have videos on how to speak English in different situations. Like, for example, how to introduce yourself when you meet someone, how to talk about what you did yesterday, how to speak in English when you go to the hairdresser, or when you go to the doctor, or when you go to the optician. I even have a video that is going to help you to know how to speak English when you go shopping for clothes, or when you meet your neighbor outside and you just want to have a conversation. So my channel is full of videos that are going to be very helpful. Once you have watched this video, I recommend that you have a good look at my playlists and my videos, and I'm very sure that you will find videos that are going to be very, very helpful. Now, let's get into our lesson. The first thing that you do once you receive your question is to read it and make sure that you understand it. Our question is, overpopulation in many major urban centers around the world is a major problem. What are the causes of this, and how can this problem be solved? The question begins with a statement, And after that, it is followed by 2 questions. What are the causes of this? How can this problem be solved? Now, the problem that we are talking about here is overpopulation, that is overcrowding in many major urban centers or cities all over the world. So the problem we are talking about is overcrowding. There are far too many people living in urban centers or urban cities all over the world. What are the causes of this problem and how can this problem be solved? Now, the first thing that you would do is to write the introduction. Remember, in your introduction, you need to have your background statement and your thesis statement. To learn more about how to write the introduction, have a look at my video. It is already uploaded. Now, once you have written your introduction, the next thing that you have to do is remember that your writing task 2 essay should only have 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph should be the introduction. After that, you should write body paragraph 2. And then you write body paragraph 3. And then you write the conclusion. You should only write 4 paragraphs. Remember, you have 40 minutes. And you're expected to write more than 250 words. If you're aiming for a band 8 or a band 9, you should write 300 words. Now, how do you write body paragraph 2? To write body paragraph 2, you have to answer the first question. And the question is, what are the causes of this? So body paragraph 2 is based on the first question. And body paragraph 3 is based on the second question, which is, how can this problem be solved? So that is the first point that is extremely important for you to remember, that body paragraph 2 should be answering the first question, and body paragraph 3 should be answering the second question. Now, how do you begin body paragraph 2? You begin body paragraph 2 with the first. Remember, the question is, what are the causes of this? What is causing the problem of overpopulation? So you need to begin with the first cause. And you need to introduce that with a linking word. So in this case, I started with the first cause. To make it very clear to the examiner, I am about to talk about the first cause. I am about to write the first cause of overpopulation in our urban centers. So always begin with your topic sentence. That is the sentence that is directly addressing the question, okay? So talk about the first cause. Immediately you start writing body paragraph 2. Let's look at what I have written. The first cause of global overcrowding in key cities is as a result of plenty of people relocating to bigger cities from villages or small cities in pursuit of employment opportunities and a higher standard of living in regards to public services such as schools and hospitals. Now that is a complex sentence. Remember, this is a band 9 answer. So for me to have been able to write that complex sentence, I have used a lot of linking words, okay? So the first cause of global overcrowding in key cities is as a result of. That is the first linking word. As a result of means is because of. So if you want to use because, you can use that. But if you're aiming for a band 9, then you should use as a result of. Plenty of people relocating to the bigger cities from villages or smaller cities. So the first cause, the first reason as to why we have overpopulation in major urban cities is because of people relocating. Relocating means moving or immigrating. Relocating is a band 9 vocabulary. Instead of saying people moving to the bigger cities or people migrating to the bigger cities, I use the word relocating, which means moving or migrating. So we have overcrowding in our bigger cities because of people moving from the villages or the smaller cities to live in the bigger cities. Okay? Now, the reason for that, because you have to elaborate your answer, I have pointed out, I have introduced the reason using a very high band 9, in pursuit of. In pursuit of simply means looking for. Okay? So people relocating to the bigger cities from villages or small cities in pursuit of employment opportunities. Now, in pursuit of means looking for employment opportunities. Employment opportunities simply means jobs. Okay? So if this was a band 7, for example, answer, I could say of people. So the first cause of global overcrowding in key cities is because of people moving to the bigger cities from the villages or smaller cities to look for jobs. Okay? But because it's a band 9, I use vocabulary such as a result of, relocating to the bigger cities, in pursuit of, meaning looking for. And then instead of saying a job, I say employment opportunities and a high standard of living. In regards to, I use another linking word to elaborate my answer in regards to better public services such as schools and hospitals. So that is a complex sentence. I have written the cause of the global overcrowding. I have identified it, and that is as a result of people relocating to the bigger cities from villages or smaller cities. And I have explained why they do that, because they go there to look for employment opportunities and a high standard of living. In regards to better public services such as schools and hospitals. So you may choose to write your course as just one complex sentence if you're competent in writing, okay? But if you're not, then you can break it down into 2 or 3 sentences so that you can write something like this. The first cause of global overcrowding in key cities is because of people migrating to the bigger cities. This is because they go there to look for jobs. Furthermore, they also want to try and have a better standard of living as they look for schools and hospitals. So that you can write that as well if you're aiming for a lower band, or if you're not a very confident writer. So instead of writing one complex sentence for the first course, you can write, for example, a simple sentence, and then you write another simple sentence and a compound sentence. Okay? A simple sentence has one verb. A compound sentence has two verbs, meaning that you're going to use a linking word to join them. And a complex sentence, as you can see in my case, it has 3 or more verbs. It has 3 or more linking words. In my case, I have as a result of, okay, I have or, I have and, I have in regards to, I have such as, okay. Now, so the first thing you do in body paragraph 2 is simply write the first reason as to, or rather the first cause of overpopulation. And then after that, you write the second one. Now, introduce it using a linking word. Like in this case, I have used another reason, okay, another reason why urban cities have so many inhabitants. Inhabitants are the people who live in a particular area, okay? Another reason why urban cities have so many inhabitants, so instead of saying so many people, okay, living there, so instead of saying another reason why urban cities have so many inhabitants, instead of saying have so many people living there, I have used the word inhabitants. Inhabitants means people living there. So another reason why urban cities have so many inhabitants is a rapid population growth worldwide due to better medical care and a low mortality rate than in the past. Okay, so another reason, so another cause of overpopulation all over the world is because nowadays we have a very rapid population growth. The population is growing very fast. Rapid means very quickly. Okay, and then I have to elaborate my answer. Due to, so I use the linking word due to, which simply means because. So we have a high population growth because these days we have better medical care. And that's not all. We have a low mortality rate. Mortality rate means the number of people that die. Because we have better medical care, there are few people who die these days. And because of that, our population worldwide is higher. Okay? Now, due to this overpopulation, city dwellers have to contend with problems such as criminality, unemployment, traffic congestion, and lack of adequate housing. Because remember, the question is, what are the problems that are caused by overpopulation? So at the end of paragraph 2, I am going to mention what problems we have to face because of global overcrowding. Now, due to this, so I introduce the problems using the linking word due to this. So due to this overpopulation, city dwellers are people who live in cities. They have to contend with. To contend with is to put up with. And to put up with means to experience. So due to overpopulation, people who live in the city have to experience problems such as criminality, that is crime. For example, people breaking into houses, unemployment, that is lack of jobs, traffic congestion. When you have a city that has a lot of people living there, then you will have a lot of cars, and because of that, you will have traffic jams. Traffic jams are traffic congestion. And then lack of adequate housing. In big cities, it is difficult to find a house. Okay? So what I have done in body paragraph 2, I have first of all written the first cause of overpopulation. After that, I wrote the second cause of overpopulation. And finally, I wrote the problems that people face in urban cities due to overpopulation. And that is problems such as criminality, unemployment, traffic congestion, and lack of adequate housing. So that's how you should answer this question in regards to how to write body paragraph 2. So in body paragraph 2, you have not only answered the first question, which is what are the causes of this, but you have also touched on what the problems are as a result of overpopulation. You have written that at the end of paragraph 2. And now you can move on to body paragraph 3. What should you write in body paragraph 3? In body paragraph 3, you should answer the second question. How can this problem be solved? Once more, just write 2 solutions. You notice in body paragraph 2, I have 2 causes. 2 causes of the problem. And in body paragraph 2, you should write 2 solutions. Remember, you have 40 minutes, not a lot of time. Now, how do you begin body paragraph 3? Let's see what I have there. There are 2 effective solutions to the problem of overpopulation in urban cities. So I make it very clear to the examiner. I'm going to write two solutions. So I encourage you to copy that sentence. There are 2 effective solutions to the problem of overpopulation in urban cities. So that is a topic sentence because it tells the examiner what the rest of the paragraph is going to be about. And now I'm about to introduce my first solution. So I use the linking word firstly. So firstly, the government should find ways to create employment opportunities for those who live in smaller cities or villages. So the first way to solving the problem of overpopulation is that the government should find ways to create employment opportunities for those who live in smaller cities or villages. Because if the people who live in smaller cities or villages have jobs, then they will not want to move to the bigger cities to look for jobs. So that's why I have written, this will deter them. To deter is to stop, okay? Instead of saying this will stop them from wanting to migrate to bigger cities, I have written this will deter. To deter means to stop. So this will deter them from wanting to migrate to bigger cities, which will ensure that these cities remain sparsely populated. Now, sparsely populated means the cities will have fewer people. You can either say a city is densely populated, which means a lot of people live there, or sparsely populated, which means that you have few people living there, okay? Remember that densely populated, a lot of people living there, and sparsely populated means few people living there, okay? So that is the first solution, that the government should create employment opportunities for those who live in smaller cities or villages. And when they do that, this will deter, it will stop them from wanting to migrate to bigger cities, which will ensure that these cities remain sparsely populated. So I have given the second, so I have my first solution and I have elaborated it, okay? And as you can see, I have written my first solution using compound sentences. Firstly, the government should find ways to create employment opportunities for those who live in smaller cities or villages, okay? And then the second sentence is, this will deter them from wanting to migrate to bigger cities, which will ensure that these cities remain sparsely populated. Now, both of them are compound sentences. I have simply used the linking words which. And now I'm going to move on to my second solution, because I remember at the beginning of the paragraph, I told the examiner that I'm going to talk about 2. I said there are two effective solutions to the problem of overpopulation in urban cities. Then I said firstly. So now the examiner is waiting for the second solution. So you write secondly, comma, the government together with local residents and NGOs such as UNICEF can establish more public facilities in the rural areas such as good schools and hospitals to prevent the inhabitants there move from feeling compelled to search for these services in bigger urban centers. Now that is a complex sentence. Remember, this is a band 9 answer. A band 9 answer should have several complex sentences. Okay? Now, so the second reason, the second solution to the problem of overcrowding or overpopulation in large cities is that the government, together with the local residents are the people who live in a certain area. Like, for example, in the village, you have the people who live there. We call them residents. Okay? In your street where you live, you are a resident there. Resident means you live there. So the government, together with the local residents and NGOs, okay, that is non-governmental organizations such as UNIFORM, such as UNICEF. So the local government plus the local residents and NGOs can join together and establish more public facilities in the rural areas. Rural areas are the remote areas, back in the villages, for example. Okay, now if they build good schools and hospitals there, that will prevent the inhabitants. The inhabitants are residents. Okay, it is another synonym for residents. So it will prevent the inhabitants who live in the rural areas from feeling compelled. Compelled means from feeling forced. If you're compelled to do something, it means you're forced to do it. Okay? So if they have good schools and good hospitals in rural areas, then the people who live there will not want to migrate. They will not feel compelled to search for these services in bigger urban centers. Okay? And then I give another example to elaborate how good public facilities will stop migration of people from rural areas to the bigger cities. I said building better roads. So first, in the second point just before that, I talked about good schools, public facilities, such as good schools and hospitals, such as means, for example. So in this one, I'm now talking about building better roads. Building better roads would also facilitate commuting daily to and from the urban cities, which would stop people from wanting to live in these cities permanently. So if you have better roads from your village to the city and you're able to go to the city and come back, then you will not want to go and live there permanently because you can commute. Okay, you can commute. In other words, maybe if you have a job in the city and the transport is so good, you can still live in the village, and in the morning you go to work and come back in the evening. You will not want to live in the city, and as a result of that, the cities will not be overcrowded. Okay, to commute means to travel every day from one place to another. Okay, commute daily. So to commute means to travel from one point to another, like from the rural area, from your village to the city, or from your house to your job. Okay, now that's how you write body paragraph 3. So I would encourage you, remember the first sentence of body paragraph 3. It makes it very easy for you to write the solutions. There are 2 effective solutions to the problem of overpopulation in urban cities. And then after that, write your first solution, make sure you elaborate it. And then after that, write your second solution and make sure that you elaborate it. And then after that, you can write the conclusion, okay? Now, how do you write the conclusion? The very first thing that you have to do is begin with the words in conclusion, or you can write to conclude, comma, or you can write to sum up, comma. So in the conclusion, you need to write the solutions, okay? You need to write the solutions. So write the solutions that you discussed in paragraph 3 in summary, okay? So you can write in conclusion, the creation of employment opportunities, as well as the establishment of better public amenities in rural areas and smaller cities will definitely cut down on population figures in all our urban centers globally. Now, in the conclusion, you need to write a summary of your solutions. Remember, in body paragraph 3, my first solution was talking about the creation of employment opportunities. And then the second solution was the establishment of better public amenities. So I have used as well as instead of and. I could also have said, in conclusion, the creation of employment opportunities and the establishment of better public amenities. So instead of using and, I used a higher band linking word, which is as well as. It simply means and. Okay, so I have my 2 solutions from body paragraph 3, that is the creation of employment opportunities, as well as the establishment of better public amenities in rural areas. And so public amenities means facilities, okay? I have to use varied vocabulary for a band 9, so I have to keep changing the word. So amenities simply means facilities, public facilities such as good schools, hospitals, better roads, okay? So when you have employment opportunities and better public facilities in rural areas, remember rural areas are villages and smaller cities, you will definitely cut down. To cut down means to reduce. You will reduce population figures. So you will reduce, figures are numbers, okay? When you have employment opportunities in the rural areas and you have better amenities, then you will cut down, you will reduce the number of people who live in the cities. That is population. Population means the number of people who live in an area. So population figures will go down in all our urban centers globally. So that's how you write the conclusion. You simply transfer the 2 points, the 2 solutions that you discussed in your body paragraph 3. You repeat them in your conclusion, okay? In summary, as you can see, okay? And you tie that to IELTS statement, which is overpopulation in many major urban centers around the world is a major problem. I linked that in the last part of my conclusion, that is the last sentence, when I said we'll definitely cut down on population figures in all our urban centers globally. Okay, now that's how you write a Band 9 Writing Task 2. Now, you want to score a Band 9, then you have to ensure that your task response is well covered, meaning that you respond to all the parts of the question. You have to address all the parts of the question. All the issues in the essay questions are well answered, okay? Present a clear position throughout the essay, okay? Any opinion given should be supported in all paragraphs in the essay, like I have done, okay? Ensure that your ideas are developed, extended, and well supported, and that all your ideas are relevant to the question, okay? Now, your paragraphing should be absolutely appropriate and based on the parts of the question, like I have done. You can see body paragraph 2 is based on the first question. Body paragraph 3 is based on the second question. And in my conclusion, I have the 2 key points that I discussed in body paragraph 3, okay? So make sure that your paragraphs are very well organized. Now, the other thing, if you want to get a band 9, you need to use a wide range of vocabulary. And as you can see, I have used a lot of it here. I would encourage you to make notes so that you remember the vocabulary, okay? But also you have to use the vocabulary correctly, okay? And the other thing that is really important is that to get a band 9, you need, even a band 8, you need to use a wide range of complex sentence structures, okay? And also you need to ensure that you use a wide variety of linking words to introduce your key points and elaborate your key points, okay? Now, if you found this lesson helpful, please subscribe to the channel for more videos. I will be uploading more videos on IELTS Writing Task 2 and Task 1 this week, so look out for that. And I will also be uploading videos obviously on IELTS Speaking Part 1, Part 2 and Part 3. Now, do not forget to subscribe and turn your notification button on so that you do not miss any of the videos that I upload. And give this video a thumbs up and share the video with anybody that you think needs it. Remember, sharing is caring. I have shared, so go on, share with other people and let other people benefit as well. Now, thank you very much and see you in our next lesson. Bye bye.